I went back to uni in 2014 to study law at Southern Cross, and in 2016 received my letter from Golden Key inviting me to take up the invitation to be part of Golden Key.
Like most people, until I got that letter, I had no idea it existed. I was sure it was a scam.
I was very tempted to put it straight in the bin because I thought, hang on a minute, they're telling me how wonderful I am and what a great achievement it is, and then they're asking me for money.
In Australia, we don't have this concept of an honest society. It's not very much known here that getting into a society based on academic excellence or academic achievement, it's generally based on, are you willing to spend those $4 and signing up to that society? I thought $100 for what looks like something that can give me a lot more. Worst case is, I know I've done this achievement, I can see I've done it, and I get a certificate for it. I know it's not the best case, but even if, this doesn't work out, at least I've got that.
I used to be a bit of a nervous wreck before I went into Golden Key. And it wasn't until I actually agreed to be vice president a couple of years ago where they kind of threw me into a position where I spoke in front of a really large crowd, and from there it's kind of spiraled forward, and now I'm doing tutorials in front of 70 university students for first year chemistry. I never would have been able to do that without that push that Golden Key gave me. It's really broadened my friendship group, which is actually really quite lovely, and you meet people from all different universities, from all different backgrounds, from people in law and commerce, which I never communicate with because I'm always with science.
It's more than networks and friendships. I've kind of gained their knowledge and their life experiences and been able to internalize all of these different experiences I never had and may never have, and be able to grow from it. I've also gained the opportunity to travel to New Orleans for a summit, again like the Asian Pacific Leadership one. This one is held in the US, coming up in June to July period. It is a 3-day summit, so it's not too long. I've decided to extend my trip. It will be my first time in the US, which is pretty exciting. And essentially, I don't know what I'll get out of it. All I know is that I'll meet incredible people and gain more networks. So essentially, I applied for a travel grant, which would cover $1,500 of my trip. Every time I think for every summit Golden Key has, they offer that scholarship to people that live external to the country it is held at to help cover costs for travel, etc. Without that grant, I wouldn't have been able to go. So it's really helped open doors for that.
In February this year, I went to Montreal, and the $1,900 covered my flights and my accommodation because I'm very good at finding cheap flights and cheap accommodation. So essentially I went for a week, and the conference was 2 days, so I had 5 days to explore Montreal, and that was, other than spending money, paid for by Golden Key. So in monetary terms, the return on that $100 has been phenomenal, but more than that, the contacts I've made around the world, I guess when I come back from those conferences, I just feel so inspired by some of the speakers and some of the amazing projects they're doing. I've actually set up a not-for-profit project myself in Kenya based on one of the speakers at the last conference in Melbourne. It's something I've wanted to do for a long time and I've tinkered with for a long time, but sometimes you just need, that little bit of inspiration to think, actually, if she can do it, I can do it.
On the resume, I don't just put I'm a part of Golden Key. I put that I was obviously president of Golden Key, and saying a little short, on my resume it actually says short bio of Golden Key, saying how you get into it, so the top 15%, and what I've actually achieved from it, what I've gained from it, and what it's given me. Shonali was our treasurer, and I'm pretty sure she's staying on as our treasurer for Eleanor's presidency. Fingers crossed she does. But yeah, she has and loves her job. She works there, I think, full-time now. She landed a full-time position at a payroll company and used Deakin Golden Key as that reference. And I think that was her only experience actually in the payroll system. So I definitely think it would have been an additive onto her getting that job, yes. It's that little edge that you might need to just separate yourself from everybody else.
You have to respond to the emails you get sent, and you have to set aside the time to read the emails and like if I hadn't read that first email, then perhaps I would never have gone to anything either.
It's a very common saying throughout life, you only get out as much as you put in. So it's a very simple thing, and coming from a chemistry background, it's a very realistic thing. Whatever you put in, you get out, basically. So, you know, you have these people that pay the $100, yet you don't see them at the AGM to join the committee. You don't see them at the events we hold. You don't see them anywhere. They don't email us. They don't apply for scholarships. They don't come to the Asia Pacific conferences. So they're not applying themselves, and I see that very frequently with a lot of students that say that if a student does look down on Golden Key, it's usually because they don't know what it's about. They haven't actually stepped into a committee meeting and seen, you know, what goes on, or whether they actually do have something to offer them. You know, they haven't tried to get some benefits out of it. They've paid $100 basically to put some letters on a resume, and that's not what Golden Key's about. The $100 is nothing compared to what I've gotten out of Golden Key, but again, you only get out as much as you put in.
It's not a give-get relationship exactly. You have to actually take it. The scholarships are there to offer, and yes, you do need to work and give in order to get things for the society, but I think that give-get relationship is more about soft skills, relationships, interpersonal skills, references. But if you're looking for that next step to get those scholarships out of the society, to get those higher roles out of the society, and you know, the really big benefits, like Golden Key offers a $5,000 undergraduate scholarship, US dollars, just for anyone who can show that they fit into the academic service and leadership, the 3 pillars of Golden Key. But you have to actually take it. You have to apply for it and go that extra mile.
I share people's skepticism when you get the invitation, because I was really skeptical. I mean, I so nearly put it in the bin. And I've actually spoken to them about it and said, you've got to change that flyer. It is so American. It is so cheesy, you know. And I think they are going to do that. So hopefully we will end up with a flyer that, you know, I think tells people's experiences of Golden Key, you know, that, you know, the opportunities that it presents, rather than some sort of American elitist society, which certainly hasn't been my experience at all.
The people that actually come to the meetings and who I meet are really down to earth, and they're people that are willing to put in the hard work to get where they've got to. It's not people sitting there being like, oh, we're in the top 15%, we're just sitting around here doing nothing, lunging around. Those are the people that want to do something with that privilege they've been offered, and want to make a difference and make something of themselves or of the world around them.